I believe it's 5:30. We will call this meeting to order. Welcome. My name is Ricky Booth. This is my first meeting as serving as chair, and I'm going to take the moment to thank my fellow board members for electing me at the last meeting. I appreciate the opportunity to serve as the chairman this year, so thank you. I want to remind everybody to silence your cell phones if you haven't already done so. Also want to notify everyone that my first official duty as chairman was to move Jay Wheeler off the dais and put him in the corner over there. That's not true. Yeah, that's not. No, Jay has an injury, and so that's if it does look a little odd tonight. Mr. Wheeler is sitting over there in the corner. He does broke his leg pushing an old lady out of the way to get on the bus first, right? Is that what it was? So he'll be over there along with our attorney, Mr. Krumpenbacher, tonight, and they're usually sitting up here. Tonight, our invocation will be led by our own Mr. Tim Weisshire. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mr. Inwood, a teacher from Poinciana High School. Our national anthem will be by the Dynasty Madrigal Group. Is that how you say that? And our mission statement will be read by Mr. Gary Pricer, the principal at Liberty High School. So at this time, I'd ask you to please stand. We'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance and then sing our national anthem.
Will you join me as we pray?
Oh, excuse me. Thank you, Tim.
God, we come before you tonight. We are so grateful of the love and the mercy and the opportunity you provide for each one of us. We thank you for the honor we have of gathering here tonight to consider the business of the school district. We thank you for what this season means for so many of us as we celebrate Advent and we celebrate the arrival, for me in my case, of our Savior. We thank you that this board works in the way that it does. We thank you that we have the unity that we have the true desire to do what's right for our students. And as we deliberate the matters before us this evening, we pray that we do so in a spirit that honors you and is in the best interest of the taxpayers and the students that we serve. We thank you, God, for the dedicated staff in this school district that works tirelessly every single day to honor and serve the mission and the cause that we've all signed up to fulfill. And may your blessing be upon all that we say and do tonight. It's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Inwood.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated.
What are the costumes from?
I know, I got it.
Okay, are you doing play Camelot or something like that? Okay.
I want to just say thank you to the Dynasty Madrigal group. That if you came early, you saw them serenading the whole crowd before with some Christmas songs. So thank you guys. We appreciate it. Mr. Pricer.
District mission statement, inspiring all learners to reach their highest potential as responsible, productive citizens.
Thank you, sir.
Go Chargers.
Our translation services tonight will be provided by Miss Naira Alvira. Did I say that right? Close enough. From the Multicultural Department.
Hi, I'm Naira Alvira, and I am here to provide interpretation services.
Thank you. Board, before we get into our positive comments, I did want to say we do have to add, if it's your pleasure, an agenda item, but it's because it's a presentation. It'll come before our normal agenda modifications. It will be for the AP Honor Roll Award from the College Board.
Absolutely.
So if I'd entertain a motion in a
Make a
second.
motion to add that to the agenda. Second.
So we have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Thacker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise? So the motion carries 5-0. So we will add that to the under presentations tonight. We've come to the time of our board meeting for positive comments. I'll start to my left here, Mr. Soto.
Woohoo! All right. Folks, let me share with you this. We conclude this calendar year. This is our last board meeting until January. This also completes 5 years of service for me on the school board. And I just want to thank this administration, our teachers, our staff, everybody that works in the school district. For 5 years, I have witnessed an improvement on every scale. And not just with the school district and what we do for our community, I feel like I've improved myself as a human being. And it's a wonderful journey so far. I want to thank you for everyone. A great end of a year. I look forward to the next one with all the projects we got going. A brand new high school that's coming up in next August. I mean, those are the kind of things that keep you awake at night, saying, "Whoa, I can't." You know, it's like Christmas, but in August of next year. But for this Christmas, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, safe, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Mr. Thacker?
A couple things real quick. I know we're going to do a presentation on the AP Honor Roll, but congratulations to our administration, all the principals and staff and teachers who have helped bring this to the district. This is a really big deal for this district, the only one in the state of Florida to receive this recognition. And even though it's for AP exams in the high school, we know that this started many, many years before, probably before the students entered school. And it started with their kindergarten teachers and all the way through elementary, middle, and high school. So thank you all very much who have done that. The Principal for a Day took place this week. Very, very, very successful event. I think it really gives us exposure in the community for the people who get to participate in the Principal for a Day. I went to the luncheon and was able to hear the feedback from the citizens who participated in that, and if everybody could do that, public education would be a lot better than what it is, because they leave with a whole different appreciation for what is going on in the schools. They leave with a different appreciation for teachers and for the staff. They leave with a different appreciation for the students, because the way the students behave in our schools and the questions they ask and the way that they move through a school with relative ease. So great day. Thank to all the schools, principals particularly, who worked with those people, showed them around, showed them what the best we have to offer, and really gives our school a good name, our school district a good name in the community. So one more thing on top of that, Kelvin, thank you very much for your leadership for the past 12 months.
Yes, sir.
You did a great job. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to your tenure, Ricky. So
Thank you.
with that, agree with Kevin. Kelvin, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Everybody be safe and enjoy the holidays. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thacker. Mr. Washer?
So Mr. Soto talked about the last 5 years on the board, and I want to thank you guys for praying for me because I've had to work with these guys for the last 5 years, and it's been quite interesting, particularly Mr. Soto. No, Mr. Wheeler's a gem. He's so easy to work with. But no, seriously, I'm really blessed to work with this board, and I know there's a lot of thank yous going back and forth amongst ourselves here tonight. But I think as a community, what you should receive from that is that we have a board, as I even mentioned in our prayer, that truly does get along, truly does respect one another, and truly does try to lead by example in how we conduct ourselves and how we lead the school district. And gentlemen, I want to say I really am honored to serve with you, Mr. Booth. Really grateful you're serving as our chair, and I would echo the sentiments to Mr. Soto. You did a great job as our chairman. I know we'll be in good hands this year. I also wanted to say thank you. So many of you guys go out of your way to provide Christmas cards and New Year cards to the school board members, and I want you to know that that's sincerely appreciated. I know you guys are busy, and there's 1,000 people that you can be sending those to, but I'd be remiss if I didn't just say thank you. It's always meaningful to get those type of notes and encouragements, and thank you for people from across the school district. I'm sitting here with 4 or 5 additional ones now, so I just want to say thank you to everybody. The last thing I would say is, you know, we're going into a special time of the year for each one of us individually, but it's actually an important time of the year for the school district, and I say that because it's an opportunity of reprieve. It's an opportunity for our team members across the school district to kind of take a step back from their important work, to rest, to reconnect with family, to really reflect upon what's really important in our lives. I want to encourage you, though, as we approach that time, to stay dedicated to the work that's before us, to recognize that every single moment, every single day that we have with our students is incredibly valuable. But as we wrap up this calendar year and you guys enjoy the Christmas break, I hope that you also enjoy the rest and the relaxation and the rejuvenation that you deserve. This board knows that we're incredibly blessed to have dedicated staff across the school district that works tirelessly to serve our students and to honor our taxpayers. And as we go into this Christmas season and as we wrap up Thanksgiving, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you guys for who you are, for what you do, and for the difference you make for our students. So thank you.
Mr. Wheeler?
First, I want to also thank Mr. Soto for his leadership over the last year. Kelvin, you did a great job as board chair. I want to let you know I appreciate that. And I want to recognize, you know, there's a lot of great things going on in this school district, and we're lucky to have that. But I also, you know, I want to applaud our school leaders, our school-based leaders, and our curriculum and our leadership team here at the district, especially our curriculum team. They recognized that we had a weakness in mathematics, and they're tackling that head on. There's no gray area, there's no excuses, and I appreciate the thoughtfulness, the effort that's going in, and the commitment that's going in. And you know, this school district, if there's a hill to climb, we're going to do it together, and we're not going to make believe it doesn't exist. So I appreciate that. Insofar as the board, I'm finishing 15 years on the board, and this board has been great to work with. And I'll say this about the board. This board and I, we don't always see eye to eye because I've been doing this such a long time. There's times we don't see things eye to eye. We'll talk things through, and so and to their credit, they will end up seeing things my way, which I appreciate. So thank you all very much for your service.
That's why Mr. Wheeler's over there in the corner. Dr. Pace?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman Booth. I did want to mention, again, the Principal for a Day was an absolutely fabulous event. I want to say thank you to our principals and also our community leaders who spent the time to visit our schools and see part of that important work. And one of the things that really struck with me was the common tone and common theme among our guests when they talked about the strong relationships that they observed in our schools across the district between teachers and staff and students, principals and students, all of those things that really make the learning happen. And I know that we are asking a lot of people today. As you all know, we registered 52 additional students yesterday from the island of Puerto Rico, 25 today. They keep coming, and you keep opening your arms and your hearts to serve them and meet their needs, but also take care of the other 66,000 students that we're tasked with serving. So I want to say thank you to each and every teacher, staff member, bus driver, custodian, principal, assistant principal, and district staff that are supporting that work, because we are asking more, and you're rising to the occasion. And I know, like Mr. Wheeler said, we will climb this mountain. but it isn't easy. So I hope you will take time over the Christmas holidays to really refresh, enjoy your families. I did also want to share that on Saturday, our special programs team, along with Mr. and Mrs. Quinn and a lot of volunteers from our schools and from the community, opened their hearts for Christmas for the kids. This started 10 years ago. They served 29 students and their families that year. This year, on the 10th anniversary, we serviced 1,176 students and their families. There were probably 6,000 people between moms and dads and aunts and uncles and grandmothers and little people and big people who came through, got a chance to see Santa, have faces painted, dance with the DJ, decorate cookies, receive presents, food, school uniforms, all from the goodness of this school district and this community. So it's a tremendous outreach, and it truly helps you understand what Christmas is all about. So thank you to everybody who played a part in that. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pace. I just have a few things, and we'll wrap this up. I wanted to say thank you to the Neptune Middle School Jazz Band, who was here earlier at 1 o'clock. They did a fantastic job under the direction of Mr. Hart. Dr. Pace fed us today before our workshop marathon that started at 2 o'clock, so I want to say thank you to Dr. Pace. I wanted to make a quick note about the Slim Down, back to school Slim Down. You know, I got ambushed up here in October to participate in the back to school Slim Down, and I didn't know where it would go, but I did my final weigh in today, and I was 13.4% down. So no, you don't have to clap for me for making myself fat. No, but in all seriousness, sometimes it just takes a little bit of a kick in the pants or being ambushed on the dais and knowing that everybody's going to be watching to get something done. So Dr. Pace gave me the name of a young lady who works over, and I don't know if she's a young lady or whatever, but Miss Brittany Dixon over in the Wellness Center who kind of put this together for the district, and I just wanted to say thank you. I feel a lot better. I think I look better. My wife hasn't told me that, but nonetheless, I do appreciate that. All right, on. All board members tonight have made some awesome comments about the board that we are and where this board has come. A few years back, we were sitting up here. I think we all noticed, I think it was Kelvin that noticed that Mr. Phelps had a pin on his lapel. And we said, what is that? We want one of those. When we go places, we want people to know that we're school board members. We're proud to be on this board. We're proud to represent Osceola County. This is not the board it was 20, 25 years ago. And you may not want anybody to know that you were on that school board. But I think after hearing the words of these gentlemen, you know that we're proud to represent Osceola County schools and the students and the teachers and the parents of this county. So I asked our communications staff to get us some pins special for the school board members. Tanya's the controller. We have some extras. So if you lose them, we have extras. And this all came because Kelvin and I lost our original pins that we were given. But now we do have I said, look, when we go, somebody's always squinting and they can't see what it says. So I asked for one that was a little bit bigger with kind of a gold outline. And I'd like to present one of them to each of the board members tonight. If you could pass those down, that you can wear when we're out in the community. If you lose it, Tanya has a bunch more. But we are proud, again, to serve on this board, and I'm proud to serve on this board. So with that, Merry Christmas to everybody. We won't be back. Happy holidays. Happy New Year, because we won't see you again until mid-January. One more comment, too, before we get going. Tonight, we are starting a new program called Board Docs. For those of you that have served on some boards and have used it, you know, you may have been through the training. Our board meeting is going to look a little different tonight, and it may be different tonight. So bear with us as we all stare at our computers every now and then to punch in what our vote is. We will still vocalize our votes, a standard procedure, but we will also be using this board documentation for the sake of our staff and our record keepers here at the district. So please bear with us. We'll make it, Jay, right? We're going to make it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So with that, we'll move on to the presentation portion of our meeting. And I think first I'm just going to turn it over to you, Mr. Weishauer. Is that fine?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm actually going to first introduce Melanie Stefanowicz, Executive Director of Secondary and Post-Secondary Career and Technical Education, to share a little bit of information, and then I have the pleasure tonight of recognizing 2 stellar students in the Osceola School District.
Good evening, Chairman, board members, Dr. Pace. Excuse me. A very important aspect of career and technical ed programs are career and technical student organizations. They provide vital components of a high-quality career and technical ed program. CTOs such as Skills USA provide students with valuable leadership opportunities, networking opportunities that reinforce workplace readiness skills. We have an exemplary model both at Poinciana High School and Liberty High School. And having said that, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. So as mentioned, Skills USA is a partnership of students, teachers, and industry working together to ensure America has a skilled workforce. Skills USA is a national membership association serving high school, college, and middle school students who are preparing for careers in trade, technical, and skilled service occupations, and for further education. Skills USA offers local, state, and national opportunities for students where they can learn and practice personal, workplace, and technical skills. And tonight it's my pleasure to recognize 2 exceptional students that have excelled within Skills USA. First, I'd like to ask Nathan Harris to please come forward and stand at the front of the room, and if everyone please join me in congratulating Nathan. Share some information with you. Nathan participated in the Eagle Construction Program at Poinciana High School since 2014. He has excelled in this career pathway and is currently the top student in the program. Since his Skills USA Club, he is a Skills USA Club member, and has been since his first year. In past competitions, Nathan won 2nd place and 3rd place in regional competitions. In 2016-17 competitions, he competed in the building maintenance competition and placed 1st in the regional event, 1st place in the state event, and took 2nd place in the national competition, going against 30 other students from across the nation. This summer, upon his return from the national competition, he was given a job working with the district maintenance department and has received raving reviews. This just goes to show you that hard work and dedication of our students really does pay off, and they thrive as a result of it. And Nathan, I want to congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
Hang tight. We're going to do a photo with you and the chairman when we're done. Next, I want to recognize Rosa Cartagena. Rosa has been enrolled in Liberty High School digital design class for the past 4 years. During this time, Rosa has taken on many leadership roles and has been instrumental in designing the school's yearbook. She has interned with numerous CTE teachers and has earned the industry certification, Adobe CC Photoshop. During her tenure in the digital design, Rosa participated in the Skills USA Club and earned the confidence of her peers throughout the state and the nation by earning top leadership roles within that organization. She is currently a national officer of Skills USA, having been elected in 2017 and was a state officer for Skills USA Florida for 2 years. She is the first National Skills USA officer from the Osceola School District and Liberty High School, and the 4th from the state of Florida, and ask you again to recognize her accomplishments and her achievements. And then before we wrap up, we know that as our students excel, there's always dedicated staff, teachers, and support people that are behind them. And I want to recognize 2 very important teachers in our school district this evening. The first, I want to ask Mrs. Terry Inwood to please come forward. Terry Inwood is a teacher at Liberty High School, and I also want to ask Mr. Erwin Inwood to come forward. Erwin is a teacher at Poinciana High School, and I will tell you I've had the distinct pleasure of working with both of these educators for a number of years. Long before I was on the school board, I spent many hours in each of their classrooms at their respective campuses talking with their students. These are two very dedicated educators that are very passionate about making sure their students excel, not just in the classroom, but beyond the classroom and whatever their career path might be. And I will tell you, we're fortunate to have you in the school district, and I know our students are fortunate to have you as their teachers. And to both of you, we couldn't be more proud of who you are, what you're doing, and what you've accomplished through Skills USA and the work that you've done at your respective high schools. So again, congratulations.
I would move now to right here, so I could click here.
Mr. Meacham, come on. Round principals, come on in here.
And while they're taking their seats, Ms. Thompson, if you can come forward, she's going to do a presentation from College Board.
Good evening, Chairman, board members, and Superintendent Pace. My name is Takini Thompson. I am College Board Director of State and District Partnership. And this evening, I'm proud to present the School District of Osceola County with the 8th Annual AP Award Certificate. The School District of Osceola County is one of 447 school districts in U.S. and Canada being honored by the College Board with placement on the 8th Annual AP Honor Roll, District Honor Roll. To be included on the 8th Annual Honor Roll, the School District of Osceola County had to, since 2015, increase the number of students participating in AP while also increasing or maintaining the percentage of students AP exam scores 3 or higher. Reaching these goals shows that the district is successfully identifying motivated, academically prepared students who are ready for AP. Inclusion in the 8th Annual AP District Honor Roll is based on a review of 3 years of AP data from 2015 to 2017, looking across 38 AP exams, including world, language, and culture. The following criteria were used: increased participation, access to AP by at least 4%, increased or maintained the percentage of American Indian, Alaska Native, Black, African American, Hispanic Latino, or Native Hawaiian other Pacific Islander students taking exams, and increased or maintained the percentage of those students scoring 3 or higher on at least one AP exam, and improve or maintain performance levels when comparing the 2017 percentage of students scoring 3 or higher to the 2015 percentage. When these outcomes have been achieved among an AP student population in which 30% or more are unrepresented minority students who qualify for free or reduced lunch price, a symbol has been affixed to the district name to highlight this work. So on behalf of the College Board, I present to you the 8th Annual AP Honor Roll Certificate.
A number of our educators in the room, including our high school assistant principals, and actually, if you are a teacher or a principal in the district, please stand and be recognized, because everybody K-12 contributes to this acceleration effort. Please stand and be recognized. There are too many get a picture at your schools with your banner.
And Board, as our chairman's making his way back around, I actually forgot to share one thing with you. On page 9 of the National Skills USA Champions magazine, I'm going to pass along to you. There's a great photo of Rosa in there as well, so highlighted in that magazine, so I want to make sure that I share that with you also.
And Chairman Booth, if I could just ask for a point of privilege, just so that everybody knows, the district's AP participation, in other words, students participating in advanced placement, increased by 17%. Our overall performance increased by 6%, and our overall performance of our minority students increased by 7%. So again, my hat is off to the teachers and administrators and staff members who really provided that extra access and support to open these opportunities for our students. When we raise the bar, they rise to the occasion. So thank you.
Thank you. We have come to the time for appointments and transfers. Dr. Pace?
Yes, I'm talking way more than normal in a board meeting. Okay, if we could have Mr. Tuchman come up to the podium, please. Board members, as you know, part of our fiscal responsibility goal 3 was to look at how we could raise alternative revenue sources. We've been working with the contracted agency and not having a whole lot of success. So we are recommending for your approval tonight Mr. Matthew Tuchman to be our coordinator of community involvement and marketing. Throughout his career, he's held the following positions: Marketing and Community Relations Ambassador for the University of Central Florida, Press Box Director for Eastern Florida State College, Communications with the Orlando Magic, Logistics Manager for Pridmore Corporation, NBA Events and Attractions Manager for the National Basketball Association, Sales and Marketing Coordinator for Live TV, and currently is the Marketing and Sales Manager for Medieval Times, where he has already been a tremendous business partner and asset to spreading the district's message. And I am confident he will continue to do that. He received his bachelor's degree in Business Administration and Interpersonal and Organizational Communications from the University of Central Florida. For your approval, sir.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion by Mr. Weisshire, a second by Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Tuchman, you have the honor also of being our first official time that we're going to punch in. No? Yes. I don't see mine up here, so bear with us.
Yes, sir.
Just a second.
We may vote for you. We may
vote for you or not. We have a motion and a second. No, it's not popping up. Tanya.
Do we have to refresh?
Do we have to refresh? Or?
Is it there now?
No.
Oh, yes.
Yes, there it comes. All right. So, board. So I guess we'll just go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed. Motion carries 5-0.
Would you like to introduce your family?
Sure. Mr. Chairman, board members, superintendent, thank you. It's an honor and a privilege, and I can't wait to get to work and help the community and help our students. And I'm joined today by my wife and my son. My son is also a student at Osceola High School, so I'm already committed. And it is my greatest life privilege to be her husband and his father. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
Welcome to the team. Ms. Bertram, would you come to the podium, please? Board members, as you know, a couple of weeks ago, we were notified that we were one of just a few districts in the state to receive the federal TIF grant to support new teacher induction. So with that, I am going to be recommending Ms. Mackenzie Bertram to serve as our new coordinator of induction, a grant-funded position. She has been a teacher at Celebration High, trainer and facilitator for the Resource Connection, secondary language arts specialist, ELA supervisor for the Osceola School District, elementary HMH reading resource teacher for Orange County Public Schools when she had a slight error in judgment.
Yes,
But then she came home to be the assistant principal at Kissimmee Middle. She received her bachelor's degree in religion from Presbyterian College, a master's in educational leadership from the American College of Education. I'm pleased to recommend her for your approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
So we have a motion by Mr. Thacker, a second by Mr. Weisshire. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
want to say thank you to Dr. Pace and obviously the board for entrusting me with this enormous task of building capacity within our schools, and I am equal to the challenge. Also want to say hello to my family who's streaming live.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Or I hope they are. You never know what technical difficulty.
And every meeting won't look like this where we don't know what we're doing.
Very good. Very good.
Congratulations.
And then also, I have some family and friends here in support. Joan, thank you for your support. My principal, Mr. Whedon, and Mr. Orlando, and the many mentors along the way who have brought me to this point. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Good
Welcome
luck.
to the team.
Thank you.
Ms. Kayla Porter, if you'd come up, please. Board members, you also were concerned a couple of weeks ago when our dear friend, Ms. Amanda Lopez, our college and career coordinator, left us for a position at FSU, but I assured you that we were going to find the right person to fill those big shoes, and I am confident in my recommendation of Kayla Porter to be our new college and career coordinator. She's held the following positions: educating and training support coordinator for the Attorney's Title Fund Services, school counselor at Westridge Middle School, seasonal national staff developer for Avid, lead school counselor at Freedom High School. She received her bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Central Florida and a master's in counseling and psychology from Troy University, and I'm honored to recommend her for the position of college and career coordinator.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Weishire. Hold on. All those approved?
Aye.
Opposed? Any? Motion carries 5-0.
Congratulations.
Thank you to the school board. Thank you so much to Dr. Pace, Dr. Fritz, Dr. Reinhardt. I'm so excited for this opportunity, and I'm ready to get started. I want to thank my family, my sister's here, my brother-in-law, my stepdaughter, and my fabulous husband is here. They're my biggest cheerleaders, and they're recording for my mom who wasn't able to make it, but she's, here with spirit. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
Hi, Mom.
congratulations.
Welcome to
Yeah.
the team. Mr. Jose Vasquez. You're up. Board members, as you are aware, Westside K-8 has been one of our schools that has experienced our greatest growth in students, particularly in recent weeks from Puerto Rico. And so we are adding an assistant principal to provide additional support for Ms. Winston and her team, and I'm pleased to recommend for your consideration Jose Vasquez. He has held the following positions: teacher at St. Cloud High, teacher at Mill Creek Elementary, dean of students at Zenith Career Center, and dean of students at Westside this year. He received a bachelor's degree in public health administration from the University of Cumberland and a master's degree in administration and leadership from Troy University.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I've got a motion by Mr. Weishire, a second by Mr. Soto.
Who's that voice I keep hearing over there? I don't know.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. As soon as, yeah, go ahead and clap.
I just want to take this time to thank my family who is in attendance here today. You've been a great support to me. My beautiful wife, Jackie, who's also here, and my colleagues and friends who have come to support me tonight. I greatly appreciate it. I also want to thank the board members, Dr. Pace, for this honor of being appointed assistant principal at Westside K-8. I'm deeply rooted in this county and this community as I'm a product of Osceola County. At the age of 5, I came from Puerto Rico and attended Boggy Creek Elementary, Parkway Middle School, followed by Gateway High School. And so, absolutely, with all the steps. And they offered me great guidance and opportunity to succeed. First as a student athlete, second as a teacher, and now as an assistant principal. My mom actually came 30 years ago from Puerto Rico for an opportunity as an educator, and Osceola County was able to provide that for her. I'm proud to say that her and my aunt, who's also here, are still at Gateway High School as English teacher and resource compliance specialist, as well as my stepfather, who retired from School of the Arts as well. And And as so, all of them have been a great influence on me as an educator and as an administrator. It is in my new capacity as assistant principal that I inspire to be a role model, a positive role model, and a success story for our students. It is my resolve to represent Osceola County proudly. I will work diligently with Mrs. Winston, who's been an amazing mentor, by the way, so thank you very much. Other instructional leaders, the teachers at Westside, and most importantly, the students we all serve. I just want to say thank you again for this honor, this opportunity, and I strive to make a meaningful impact in our students' lives and their futures. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And we have one more, Chairman and members of the board. Mr. Mike Meachin, would you come to the podium, please?
No.
I know you'd be happy about that.
Anytime we're opening a new school, there is the challenge of the hole that's left to be a planning principal. And we earlier filled our Topeka High School with Mr. Phelps. Fantastic choice. He's already leading the charge there. And now we are looking at the work that will happen for the demonstration high school at Neo City. And I am honored and pleased to recommend for your consideration tonight Mr. Mike Meachin. He's been a teacher at Celebration High, Dean of Students, Data and Assessment Coordinator at Celebration High, Assistant Principal at Creekside High in Atlanta, Georgia, and Assistant Principal and then Principal at Point Siena High starting in 2013. He's received his bachelor's degree in history from Westfield State University in Massachusetts, a master's in education from the University of Phoenix in Arizona, and he also has a master's degree in educational leadership from Stetson University. He is a member of the Avid Principals Collaborative, and he's on the Future of Educational Technology Advisory Board. He was recently selected to present the keynote address entitled Breaking Down Barriers to High Impact Instruction at the 2017 Future of Educational Technology Conference and at the 2016 Florida Council of Language Arts Supervisors Conference, as well as a workshop entitled Engagement, Assessment, Creation at the 2016 Florida Association for Media and Education. Mr. Meachin was also selected and has participated in the Brian Dassler Leadership Academy from the Florida Department of Education, and he's currently a state finalist for the 2018 Innovative Principal of the Year from the Florida Council for Instructional Technology
Move for
Leaders.
approval.
Second.
There's another paragraph.
Well, I didn't see it.
Yeah. No, I'm joking.
Before we vote, I'm going to make a comment. And
We got to get a second first.
Second.
Second, okay.
I will not comment.
good?
Yes.
Dr. Pace will tell you that when her and I spoke about this, I was happy for you and I was extremely sad, let's just say. And as we sat and discussed it, she heard some of my concerns. I've tremendously valued and respect the work you've done at Point Siena High School.
Thank you.
That school has been very blessed by your presence and by your leadership, and I know that the right leader will step in to fill your shoes. But I couldn't miss the opportunity tonight to express my gratitude to you personally on behalf of the residents of Point Siena and the students of Point Siena High School for the work that you've done to really lead and shape a culture in that campus. I know you'll do great work with where you're headed, and I know that it's important work, and I know that this board is excited what this new school is going to mean to our community. But I didn't want to miss the opportunity tonight to tell you that as excited as I am to see you go where you're going, I'm also very sad to see you leave the home of the Eagles. So thank you for your leadership, your work, and your dedication on behalf of all the students.
Mr. Chairman.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I got a comment also.
Jay, Mr. Thacker?
I just want to add, too, that I met you probably after I hadn't been on the school board for a few months, and you came to, you may not remember this, but I remember it very well, you had come to a community meeting and sat in the back and were somewhat quiet and asked a couple very insightful questions, and we spoke a little bit afterwards, and I was extremely impressed with some of the moves you'd made. You'd gone to Atlanta and worked in a pretty hard area there, but the thing that impressed me the most, I guess, was that you were back home in Osceola County and you felt at home at Point Siena, and that's where you wanted to be. I'm thrilled that you're moving to the new school. I think that's a great pick by Dr. Pace and her team. I wish you the best of the luck, and I'm excited to hear what you're going to do there.
Thank you.
So,
I've been to Point Siena High School as a school board member and as a dad also, because my kids have played sports against Point Siena, and you've done a terrific job there. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You walk on that campus, you think the school was built last year, the way you've taken care of it, and the way the kids are there. Meanwhile, similar to Mr. Weissire, I shared with Dr. Pace that when she was making this appointment, that you'd be the perfect principal for this new school. But the problem is you're also the perfect principal for Point Siena High School. And to that end, though, I think that you're the right person for this. I'm glad you're doing it, Mike. I think you haven't scratched the surface of your potential. I'm thrilled you're doing this, and I'm just happy that you're here as an educational leader. And knock 'em dead, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one issue. Our voting buttons have popped up, but mine does not have a yay answer. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to vote nay on this one at the request of all my PHS friends in the back of the room that threatened me as they walked in. Obviously, I'm voting in favor.
So we have a motion by, was it Mr. Thacker? Yes. And a second by Mr. Wheeler. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you. Board, Dr. Pace, Dr. Fritz, Dr. Reinhardt. This is bittersweet for me, as Mr. Weissauer said. I will tell you that I'm excited about what's to come, but I will tell you that my past 5 years at Point Siena High School have been absolutely incredible. I am not responsible for the change that occurred there. I have an absolutely incredible team, many of whom are here tonight, that have helped me through that. My wife Angela, my son Jack, and my daughter Kennedy are both here as well. And there's a huge support network that has helped move that school forward. So I'm appreciative of the time that I've spent there. It has certainly made me better, and I will carry that on to the work that I'm going to do for the school district. So I'm excited. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sir.
All right, Dr. Pace, anybody else you want to move around? All right. We are now open for public comment. If you would like to make a public comment, the yellow sheets are on the back there. If you'd please fill one out. If you haven't filled one out, it's fine. Just go get one. And yeah, this would also be the time if you would like to get up and move. We'll give you a moment for that.
You can slide out this door if you want.
Also, Tanya, while we're transitioning, is the timer going to pop up on the screen? Is it going to be on our screens? How's that going to? It should pop up over there, but we don't know. Okay.
Ricky, you cleared the room, man.
Yeah. It should pop up on the big TV. I'm not running it.
Oh, you don't have to do that anymore?
Oh yeah. So, sir, when you come forward, just hand your yellow sheet over to, or actually hand it to me. You can't do it right now if you want. It's fine. Just your yellow sheet. Oh, okay. Fill it out when you come to speak. That's fine. That's fine. I thought you'd done it already. All right. First, we have Miss April Jackson. Name and address for the record. You know the drill, right?
April Jackson, 722 Malbert Street, Kissimmee, Florida. Soon to be living in Ricky's district as of Friday.
Great.
Look out.
Welcome to God's country.
That's right. And I just wanted to say a couple things. I want to speak about our children that are coming in from Puerto Rico and how many of these children are suffering from PTSD and how difficult it is for them to be adjusting. But before I get to that, the program on Saturday, we were honored to provide 1,500 books to the children that attended. Every year I do a grant, and part of the grant money is to go to providing the books for the children who are unable financially to purchase their own books. And quite a few of the students this year were actually from Puerto Rico, and I had bilingual books purchased for that purpose. But as I'm talking to the teachers around the county, we know that the class sizes are up. There's nothing we can do about it because we don't have enough space and or enough staff at this point in time. But our teachers are doing the best that they can. And one of the things they brought up to me over and over again is that many of the children that are enrolling are suffering from PTSD. And the community needs to understand that when we have these children in our community, they have gone through trauma unlike any of us have been involved in, and they are struggling to adapt. We have a young little man who was sent here by his parents to live with a family friend that he doesn't even know who the person is. And each and every day it's an argument to get the child to school because all he wants are his parents. And as a community, we need to be understanding. Our teachers are working with them, the guidance counselors are working with them, but I think we might need to do a little bit more to support these poor children who are trying to survive. They're living with strangers that they don't know who these individuals are. The strangers were wonderful and opened their household to children that they've never met before, but they know the importance of education and how important these children are to be successful in our schools. And I'm asking that the community at large be understanding and accept these children into our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Sir, if you want to bring me your sheet, just remind you to state your name and address for the record, and then once you do that, you have 3 minutes, okay? Yes, sir.
Appreciate the time. I met with Dr. Pace last Wednesday.
Name and address, please.
My name?
Your name and address for the record.
My name is Randy Henson, 3423 Wilderness Trail, Kissimmee, Florida.
Thank you.
I met with Dr. Pace last Wednesday to discuss what I've got here. It's called Smarty Gras. Be around the time of February and March of next school year, possibly. Mardi Gras is a lot of fun, but Smarty Gras would help encourage the intelligence of the students by combining maybe history fair, science fair, any other academic contests they might have. You'd also have some type of carnival going on, like a pop quiz, where you'd pop a balloon, you win a prize, but there would be a question in the balloon. If you answer the question, you got a better chance of winning a prize. Be silent auction. Hopefully people like Smart Water, smartphones, and those kind of people would donate stuff for prizes, and in turn the kids and families could try to win those. You could have maybe a baker make some square-shaped pies, because as you know in math, pi r square. You could also have Tico maybe out there selling tacos. You could have Valencia Community College selling or giving away oranges, because they are named after an orange. Okay, and they could have a slogan, maybe, "Aren't you glad we have 2 locations in Osceola County?" I've got a lot of stuff here. It's more than 3 minutes, but anyway, it would be a way of the students bettering themselves, because right now at a science fair, a lot of times the only people that show up are the parents, and even they can't make it sometimes. So this kid went to a lot of trouble to make a great science project, and he gets no warm and fuzzy. With this, there would be people out there for the science fair, history fair. You'd have the choral groups, the bands, and the dance groups from the schools performing. There'd be all kind of reasons why people of the community would want to go there. So that's what I got.
Thank you, Mr. Henson. If you would like to email us your information, that'd be more. Or if you've emailed
I'll be happy to provide it to the board. Thank you, Mr. Henson.
Yes, thank you, sir. So, board, at this time, we will recess our regularly scheduled meeting, which we are doing right now, and we will have our public hearing, Mr. Boyd, on proposed revisions to the school board rules.
John, before you start, how do we get this?
Yeah.
I do need to worry about it. I need to be able to
Well, I know there's no voting, but we, Ruben, in the future, if you're listening, we will need these PDFs loaded onto the computer so that we can go back and forth and see what we're looking at, especially if we're doing school board rules.
Yeah, they're long. It's gonna.
We'll have to have those at the bottom. I do know, Clarence, I believe you could go to.
Not have it here. Okay.
Where do we go to the public hearing? Oh, okay. I'm learning.
Sorry. piece.
No. Ruben, in the future, don't listen to Ricky. Miss Pam will figure everything out for us and show us how to do it. But actually, in all seriousness, I think we would prefer to have the PDFs here that we can look at. I got it.
Scroll down, it's finally there.
Yep. Thank you, Jim. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry.
All righty.
Oh, wait. Tim, are you ready?
Yeah, good.
Okay, yes.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Pace. Tonight is, of course, the public hearing for the school board rules revisions that we brought to you. Tonight, I will read a summary, as I did at the workshop, and then we would ask for an opportunity for public comment for the public hearing, and then after that, request action from the school board on these revisions. The first proposed rule change is affecting Rule 8.43. It's the only rule change we're bringing of a school board rule for competitive sales and fundraising regulations. It revises paragraph 3 to permit the sale of food and beverage items at other school, by other school organizations at all schools, regardless of grade level, beginning 5 minutes after the end of the school day. It just brings consistency to the rule for all grade levels. The remainder of the changes all affect our student progression plan. The first set of changes affect the student progression plan at all levels. There's a revision of the policy documents to reflect recent changes in state law and to provide consistency with school district procedural precedent and current research-based best practice. There's a revision of the section attendance guidelines to provide consistent expectations regarding makeup work. There's a deletion in the section student withdrawals during the last 2 weeks of the school year. There are updates to the section's exceptionalities and ESE curriculum to reflect current language within the school district's ESE policies and procedures SP&P document, which the Florida Department of Education approves annually. There's an update to the section, Progress Monitoring Plan, Multi-Tiered Systems of Support throughout. There are updates to the section Remediation Program Description to include MTSS throughout. There's a revision to the section Accommodations of District State Assessments for Special Program Students to clarify that accommodations apply to both school district and state assessments. The next set of changes affects the elementary school student progression plan only. There's a revision to the introduction in the section Promotion to clarify the role of the school-based placement committee and the student's ability to perform academically. There's a revision to the section Possible Grade Level Assessments, Kindergarten Indicators to address recent changes in state law. There's an update to the section Exemption from Mandatory Retention in Grade 3 Good Cause. There's an update to the section Mid-Year Promotion before and after November 1st of the school year. There is an update to the section District State Assessment Programs and an update to the section Exemptions from State District Assessments for Special Program Students to add IEP Team. The next section of changes affects the middle school student progression plan only. There's a revision to the section Exceptional Student Education to replace assignment with placement, an update to the section Florida System of School Improvement and Accountability to add the terms World Language and Fine Arts. There's a revision to the introduction in the section Promotion to add Florida Standards and Formative Assessments. There's an update to the section Promotion of ESE students to include the Florida Standards Alternate Assessment and access points for Florida Standards. There's a deletion to the obsolete section Middle School Success Plan to reflect changes in recent legislation. There's an update to the section Extended School Year Services throughout the middle school student progression plan. There's an update to the section District State Assessment Programs and an update to the section Exemptions from District State Assessments for Special Program Students to reflect current language within the district's SP&P document, which the Florida Department of Education approves annually. The last set of changes are for the high school student progression plan. There's a revision to the section Maximum Age Limit for Attendance to reflect current state law and to clarify that no one shall be permitted to attend the regular high school program after attaining the age of 19 if he or she has had an interruption in their schooling. There's a revision to the section students who are not residing within their with their natural parents or legal guardians to add foster parent. There's a revision to the section attendance guidelines students with disabilities to provide consistent expectations across grade levels. There's an update to the section Florida System of School Improvement and Accountability to add the terms world language and fine arts, similar and to match the middle school student progression plan. There's a revision to the section Credit Acceleration Program to clarify that students who are not enrolled in an advanced placement course may take the AP examination if the student pays for the assessment. There's an update to the section General Requirements, grades 9 through 12, alternative education programs, grade 9 cohort school years. There's an update to the section Extended School Year Services throughout, deletes the Algebra 2 graduation requirement throughout, deletes the obsolete graduation requirements, revises the graduation requirements for grade 9 student cohorts entering the 2013-14 and subsequent school years. Then there is a revision to the section statewide assessment requirement for ESE students to permit certain ESE students to waive the requirement per section 1003.428 Florida statutes that if a student has taken the grade 10 Florida Comprehensive Assessment Test or FCAT or FCAT 2.0 or grade 10 Florida Standards Assessment English Language Arts FSA ELA with allowable accommodations at least once but have not attained a passing score. Then the last change to the high school student progression plan is in the section exemptions from district state assessments for special program students to reflect the current language within the school district's SPNP document, which the Department of Education approves annually. This concludes the proposed revisions for this rulemaking cycle. In summary, at this time I would step aside to provide the public comment required period.
Okay, at this time, is there anyone who would like to comment on the proposed school board rule changes? Seeing none. John?
Thank you. And then at this time, board members, we would ask for your action on these proposed revisions.
Board, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the revisions as submitted.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Mr. Wheeler, a second by Mr. Thacker. We do not have the live voting on this one. It'll just be a traditional vote. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, board members. Thank you, Dr. Pace.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd, for all your work.
Thank you, John.
All right, we get back to the right one. Okay. Got to get back to the right
Read
meeting.
agenda modification.
Yes, we are. I got to get back to the right meeting. There we go.
I'm there.
Okay, board, we do have several blue sheeted items for your consideration tonight. We also have our committee assignments. I guess I'll ask you, Kelvin, do you have any? Mr. Soto, do you have any agenda modifications?
No modifications, thank you.
Mr. Thacker?
No.
Mr. Weisshire? Mr. Wheeler? Okay, we do need to, board, put our committee assignments on here. I would think new business, unfinished business. What do you think? I will, I'm going to. We got this one first.
New business, it's fine.
We're going to put committee assignments under new business. We also have one under business and finance for the architect and engineering services for the demonstration STEM high school project. We have one under facilities regular agenda for the Harmony middle school project. We already did the presentation. And we have one under school operations for the approval of the contract between the school board and the Teamsters Local 385 for the 2017-2018 school year. So committee assignments, the engineering, Harmony, and Teamsters.
Move for approval of the agenda as modified.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Thacker, a second by Mr. Wheeler. Any discussion? No. All those approved, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Board. Now let's just take one moment here. You know, this is a discussion we had the other day, because in the past, well, we do have some information items. I'll get to those in just a second, but before we get started, before we get to the information items, board, think about this. We did talk, and I don't think we've rectified this situation. We may have to vote. We generally have voted if by the title item, say under curriculum instruction, you know, we voted for both A and B. We may have to vote both times. I think we can still accept the same motion, same second, and just press it twice.
Right now on your screen, you should have something up there to vote on.
Okay, on the consent agenda. Yep.
Okay.
I did mine. Okay. So just think about that before we get there. But right now we are at the agenda information items. And Mr. Curran.
Presentation items, Rick?
Yes,
Okay.
Well, information, presentations, staff information.
So good evening, Board and Superintendent. Mr. Weishire asked for student ratio counts, and I provided you an email that gave you those counts. Currently, our student-to-device ratio is between a range of 0.84 student to a device at New Beginnings to 2.30 at St. Cloud Elementary. The district's average ratio is 2.03 students per device. The digital classroom plan allowed us to purchase about 4,000 devices during the last 2 years to supplement what we already had. We'll continue to use these funds to close the gap if the legislation allows it, you know, because in the last 2 years it's changed twice on what they let you purchase it with. Just want to note that there's no budgetary line item other than the DCP that can be used for new computer devices. So what's the desired ratio? We can all agree it would be the desired ratio would be a laptop for each student when program appropriate and sustainable. Just putting technology into kids' hands without a plan will not increase student achievement. A successful one-on-one program would require intense teacher trainings on how to use appropriate digital resources. A learning management system would have to be purchased, implemented, and trained. So what's the impact? We have those that have and those that have not. So we asked a couple of students, we said, what is it that you have issues with because you don't have devices? So Mr. Alomo at Discovery Middle said, it's hard not having a computer at home. It's hard because I have to do many digital learning activities as homework, such as iReady, Teen Biz, etc. To get these digital activities completed, I have to use the computers at the local library, or I go to the school library during lunch so I can get them completed. Another student, Ms. Molina at Liberty, said, let's start off with the fact that I do not own a computer at home. Now these days, most assignments and classes are online, so yeah, it's difficult getting it done. My parents drive me to the Poinciana Library almost every day. Well, they used to. Now they can't anymore. It's too much gas and money being wasted. So now I come to the library every morning before classes start and do what I can with the time they give me to be in here, and also during lunch instead of eating. I go to the library to work on Reading Plus, trigonometry, and online classes. Only 30 minutes, that's all we get for lunch, and honestly, 30 minutes goes by very quickly, so I don't really get as much as I would like done. It's difficult not being able to finish your work at home, to have it done and turned in on time. Sometimes I don't even get my work turned in on time, so I ask my teachers for an extension to turn it in late, even though I know I won't fully receive credit because it's turned in late. Honestly, it would be nice to be able to sign on a laptop and finish my work on time. Now, as much as I can agree with this, there's still a percentage of our families that don't have internet, right? So even if we could give them a laptop, they couldn't connect. So in the nearly 5 years since the BYOD implementation, there's been all kinds of new web products. There's new stuff for teachers, for students, that's available everywhere. One thing to consider, though, is that even that we have 2 devices for every student, when testing comes, those go away for the most part. So even if you had a one-on-one, you still couldn't get rid of the computers you have because you still have to use them for testing. Otherwise, if you had a one-on-one, you'd have to take the student's laptop away in February. Come on. And one of the biggest concerns I have is the refresh. You know, if we had all the funds to do a one-on-one, that'd be great, but I'd like to just fund the ones we currently have. Right now, they stand at a refresh rate of 9 to 10 years. You know, as we've added these 4,000 more devices, you're just pushing up the age of them. Modern computers are obsolete after 4 to 5 years. You know yourself at home, how often do you buy a computer? These ones that they turn on and it takes 10 minutes to boot, you know, out of a 45-minute period, what have you accomplished? So that's my presentation.
Chairman. So first, thank you. And board, I had asked, as Mr. Curran mentioned, for this information because it was an area of concern for me, and I don't think we've talked about it for a little while as a school board. And then after he provided the information, I spoke briefly with the superintendent and said maybe this is an item that just should be presented to the board to make sure that we're all up to speed on where we are. We know that our BYOD initiative was something that was a major priority for the school board, and we worked hard to increase the infrastructure at our schools for bandwidth and capacity. But I feel like it's an important conversation, and it's one of those conversations. First, let me say this. I'm not implying that we change anything with regard to legislative priorities whatsoever. But this does fit within there, and I felt like this was one more additional component that, and you guys may have already known this, and maybe I was the only one that needed a refresher on it, but it's one more component of that conversation as we're talking about the shortage that we have from a capital standpoint to keep up with the demands that are placed on our students and on our staff to make sure that we're providing the digital access that students need to keep up with the fast-paced learning environments that we operate within. So I wanted to make sure that I passed along the information that Mr. Curran had provided to me. I wanted to know, based on schools, where we were. I want to thank you for the time tonight. If nothing else, I think it was just a good refresher for the board to have a really clear understanding of where we are and what the challenge is. I do think it's something that as a board we're going to have to continue to look at and prioritize is as we look at our dollars, how do we continue to chip away at this? And I think we probably all feel the same way about what we desire to see as the net result. But I don't want this conversation to leave our minds as we continue to deal with the other challenges that we face as a school district. And we have students that are, and teachers for that matter, that are requested to do things digitally and they don't have the tools that they need sometimes to get that done. It does create an impediment, and so I wanted to make sure that I just had a brief conversation, and I appreciate the presentation on it tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kerr.
Thank you.
Okay, board, that brings us to, well, we do have the other information items, the update on the Center for Employee Health and the Health and Life Insurance Trust Fund. That information is in your packet. Mr. DeBoer will not be speaking tonight. That brings us to our regular agenda items. Board, what's your pleasure?
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve under Roman numeral 7, items A and B as submitted.
Okay.
Second. Where did these go?
Mm-hmm.
Are these falling?
System can't be built.
Are they
Just
falling?
a second.
Yeah, that's a good question.
They're right here.
Are they falling
this
under
one goes
consent?
under. when we get to the blue sheeted items, one under facilities, one under business and finance, and one under school operations, we will we'll have to go back up to the agenda modifications. If you look, I believe it's number 5.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
At the same time, you can't vote that way. You have to do one at a time.
No.
So are you doing that, or are you going to?
What I'm saying is, I believe that you can load it up with the motion. We may have to press the button twice here, but the motion and the second will be the same for both.
Right.
Tanya, does that work? So we can press our buttons twice.
In other words,
You'll have to load it twice.
Correct. I told you you're going to have to bear with us on this. On our new.
So
I
we've
think
gotta
that should
do-
work fine.
So we've got to do it the system's way. The system can't do it our way.
Right.
Correct.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
We had a motion by Mr. Wheeler for items A and B and a second by Mr. Soto. We will have to press the button twice for 12.01 and 12.02. All right. So while the second one's coming up, I'll ask for a public acknowledgement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0, but we have not voted the second time.
Chairman, Roman numeral 8. I'll
Hold
make a
on,
motion-
Wait, we got to
Wait,
still
wait,
vote
wait.
for the
Okay.
next.
You didn't mean to go too fast.
But do we know which ones these were falling under?
Yes, I've got one here.
Okay, you know, as long as.
You got to vote on B.
Thank you.
Yep,
Sorry.
got to vote on B. And give us just a moment here while we add here. Business and finance, and then school operations. Okay.
Are there any under chief of staff?
There, no, the first one will come under.
Make a motion,
Will come under.
approve item 8, item C, D, and E.
Second with discussion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Thacker and a second by Mr. Soto for items C, D, and E under Chief of Staff for Teaching, Leading, and Learning. And we have discussion by Mr. Soto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On item C, I believe that there are folks here who are representing the Osceola Science Charter School. I would just like to give them an opportunity now to approach the podium and introduce themselves and tell us this is a ask for a 5-year extension, so we are most interested in hearing what you're doing.
Okay, please come forward.
Thank you, Matt, so much, Mr. Soto, and thank you, the board, Dr. Pace, Dr. Esposito, just everyone who has been so wonderful to Osceola Science Charter School. We've been doing really great things with the kids, and we want to continue to do those things. This is why we're asking for the extension for 5 years, so we can move into a new facility, that we can expand our student population. Right now, we're at about 270 students, with about 150 more on the waiting list, but we've hit our max, like physically, and the building that we are leasing from another current school, and we'd love to be able to continue the STEM education in Osceola County, and we're so blessed to be part of the wonderful education system here. This afternoon, I was walking around the school after school hours. Had already gotten out, and in one classroom, I saw kids learning how to play guitar and sing, which in this new facility we'd have a huge performing arts center, which I'm really excited about. And then in the classroom, the kids were learning how to design and code their own robots. And then in another classroom, the kids were doing a book project and becoming more and more educated on just not reading the book, but the history of the authors and the history of the illustrators, and I love it. My son graduated from our other campus in Orlando. I'm sorry, I said Orange County. And just being a parent with the science schools and what I've seen, what they can do with a child and what they can do with a community, it's a breath of fresh air, and I'm so proud to be part of it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming tonight. Appreciate you reaching out, speaking.
And board, I've been involved with this charter school since they began here in Osceola County. I gotten to know Dr. Akeem, he's back there as well. And the principal, I forgot your last name. Okay, Ms.
Maracha.
Maracha, okay.
Thank you, Mr.
And I visited their school. I would encourage, if you haven't visited yet, to take the time and see what they're doing. This is one that I'm going to approve very willingly. I think that this is how charters are, if they're going to be working, this is the spirit of how they should be operating.
Thank you so much for those kind words. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
My only quick comment was what I had said to you before.
Yes.
If you'll just coordinate with Ms. Culver on scheduling a time for me to go out and spend
Wonderful.
some time out at the campus.
That would be
we'll get that done.
fantastic. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, board.
Right.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
I
Board,
appreciate
before
it.
we go any further, we have two more votes on here to get done.
Oh, I didn't vote yet. There it is. I was the holdup, but I'll be honest, board, I didn't vote because I wanted to get through the discussion portion before I voted on it, so.
You abstained?
No.
Do we need to get you a Form 8? Fill that out.
You're funny.
This has got to be a
Is this exciting for you guys?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
This is terrible.
If they don't make this any faster, we're going back old school.
Woohoo! Yeah.
Tablet and a chisel, baby.
Mm-hmm. Everybody else use board docs. I've never seen a board sit here and wait like this.
Yeah, something's not right. Okay. All right, board, as soon as you vote on the final item, we will be done with Chief of Staff and down to, will be item 9.
I'm sorry? Yeah, so I was going to say, just so you guys are aware, on 13.02, it did not give me the option to vote digitally, but I am voting in favor of that one. I'll vote now digitally on 03.
Digitally challenged, Mr. Weissire?
I'm not at all, actually. It's the technology that's
Well,
trying
no,
to
I
keep
get
up
it.
with me.
I get it.
Well, Board Docs has got a way to go, or
we do.
no.
Item 9, are we ready?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted, item F.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, a second by Mr. Soto on item F. Board, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, like sign.
I don't know if anybody's trying to open any of the attachments, but I'm about 50-50 on whether mine open or not.
This is great technology.
Hey, Board, do you have the printed agenda, though, that follows along with Board Docs?
No, I don't.
do.
Where?
We reference that, because I'm
Where
going
is
back
it
and
at,
forth
Tanya?
between 1401 and
Which one is
12A. And
Mr. Weissire, I really think the system has to
Oh, here it
accommodate
is,
us
here it
when
is,
we
here
have
it
to
is, here it is.
accommodate.
Yes. Okay.
So we're on humans, we're on Roman numeral 10?
we're on
Do you have the other one? We're on item 9.
We just voted on it, didn't we?
Nope.
I made a motion, Calvin seconded it.
No, I'm talking about the new agenda.
we're on number 15 on the new agenda.
15 of the.
Correct. Oh, sorry.
Board docs are 15.
No, we just did 15. No, we are on 15.
Oh, okay.
I move for
I
approval
got
of
it.
item 15.01 if we need that
So-
much detail. Or 15, both items.
Both items. Okay.
Second.
Switch pages.
So we have a motion by Mr. Thacker and a second by Mr. Weissire on the Human Resources item 15.01 and 15.02. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I second
Motion
that one.
carries 5-0.
Merry Christmas.
On Roman numeral, on number 16, Mr. Chairman.
Wait a minute.
Oh, sorry.
Hang in there, Tanya.
Wow.
I think that lady had to leave way too early for her flight that day. That or this just doesn't work.
Other people use this everywhere. I think
So you're saying it's you?
it could be me holding
It's
all
us.
y'all up, but I don't
No, it's
think-
not you, Clarence.
All right, board, that moves us to business and finance. I do want to remind you that we will, under business and finance, have to go back up to agenda modifications. I believe it is the blue sheeted item 5.03, and we can take that one separately, or
5.03.
we'll have to do that separately.
Are we going there now, Chairman, or after we?
Let's go.
Whatever your pleasure.
Let's do business and finance. I move for approval of business and finance item 16.
Okay,
That's item 16 through 16.10, and then we'll go get that other one.
okay.
Did we,
I have a motion by
Second- I'll
Mr.
second with
Thacker.
discussion.
Yeah,
Do I have a second?
second with discussion.
Okay.
The only
16. all
the only
16.
discussion I've got, Mr. Chairman, are we adding something under business and
We
finance?
already
right?
did.
Okay, but I'm trying. I
But,
got
it-
three
but
of
we will
these.
not be voting on it during number 16. We'll be going back in a moment and voting on it under 5.03.
Great.
Yes.
Mr. Thacker made the motion. We have a motion by Mr. Thacker, a second by Mr. Wheeler. All those in favor to approve items 16.01 through 16.10, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
There's
Motion
10 of
carries
these. Bear with us.
5-0.
It'll take about 10 minutes for us to click the buttons and
I think we send this back for modification. Until it comes back to it, can accommodate us.
I think it's the new chairman that fouled all this up.
I don't.
I
I,
second
I wish
that.
I could blame it on that, Mr. Chairman. I don't believe that for me. I believe.
No,
that-
we will, to the public, we will not be doing this again if this is how it is.
I think it's Dr. Respis. She's up here with us. We've never had these
Yeah,
issues
right.
before.
All right, here's what we're going to do, board. We're going to go back in. We're going to fill that out. Let's continue. Item 5.03. We're not sitting here all night. 5.03. We'll figure it out. It'll be on record. Let's go.
Okay.
good idea, Rick.
So we're using the new agenda or the old agenda?
The old agenda.
So we
Or,
are.
I mean, excuse me. No, the new agenda.
Okay.
Item 5.03.
This is the request for negotiation.
Three. I'll make a motion to approve item 5.03 as submitted.
This is for the architect and engineering services for the new high
Demonstration
school.
right.
We have a motion by Mr. Wheeler. Do I have a second?
Got it. I'll second it.
Okay.
I just found it.
Yep.
Give me a second.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep. This is a blue sheeted item.
Yeah.
It's only blue
Clarence, I was
sheet.
confused
Okay.
too.
All
It's
right, I
okay.
know what it is. I know
Clarence,
what it is now.
it's okay. I was confused too.
So I have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, a second by Mr. Thacker. All those in favor say aye.
Second,
Aye.
Chairman.
Oops.
Excuse me?
Just one
Oh,
moment.
okay.
Yeah.
You're an aye?
Yeah, yes, I'm good.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries 5-0. That brings us to number 17, which is under facilities. Again, board, we will, after we complete what's under facilities here, we will have a blue sheeted item to go back
All
to.
right, and then based on the way we're doing this, I will make a motion to approve 17.01 and 17.02.
Second.
I got to pull
Just-
the third one.
Just those two?
Well, then we'll do the third one, then we can do the block. I'm kind of trying to keep them in order.
So I understand what you're doing. I'll
I
second
think
it.
I'm-
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Thacker to approve 17.01 and 17.02, a second by Mr. Wheeler. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve item 17.03 as submitted on its own.
All right, we have a motion
Discussion.
by Mr. Wheeler for 17.03, a second by Mr. Soto. Discussion?
Yeah, I will be abstaining from voting on this item for the construction management agreement with Moss and Associates. My son is an employee of Moss and Associates. And while there is nothing here to inure my personal gain, I will abstain for appearance sake.
Okay. So with that,
Just for the record, Mr. Thacker will be filing the appropriate
And I
document
will
with the
file the
clerk.
appropriate forms in about 20 seconds as it comes down.
yeah, yeah. So
Discussion.
all those in favor?
Discussion.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I've got all the faith in the world in the team doing this, but when we're approving a $33 million item, I think it deserves more than just a quick approval. Obviously, I've known Henry forever, but Wade and I know each other because he built Celebration High School for another firm, but I know you'll do a great job. There's a lot of taxpayer dollars, and we'd like to see you come in under budget and give us some of that money back, and give us some of that money back from your general conditions, too. That's a lot of money. So I know you'll do a great job. This is the first project Moss is doing with us. I know you've got a lot invested in doing this, too. So, but again, for the public's sake and the taxpayers' sake, approving a $33 million item, that's a big-ticket item. And anybody who doesn't treat it as such shouldn't be in the position that we're in. So I've got all the confidence in the world in this team. You'll do a good job. But again, this is one of those kind of projects when you're approving that kind of those kinds of dollars into our school district team. I know they'll do a good job, but this is the kind of thing that we got to put under a microscope as it goes forward, because $33 million is a lot of money. So I just want to go on the record with that.
Thank you, and I'll go on the record before we vote as saying we have had about half a dozen workshops, some over an hour, so I just want to make that clear that
we've done our due diligence,
All
Mr.
right,
Chairman.
thank
Absolutely.
So, item 17.03, motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Soto. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. With one, all those opposed, like sign? Motion carries 4-0 with one abstention.
Yes, sir.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve items 17.04 through 17.10.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Mr. Weisshire for 17.04 through 17.10, second by Mr. Wheeler. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Board, that moves to item 18 was the superintendent's recommendation. Do we have a?
Did you have a facilities
Oh,
item?
excuse me, we do have one more facilities before we move on.
Okay.
That will be item 5.04, which is the purchase sale agreement for the mitigation credits for Reedy Creek.
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Mr. Weisshire. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Board, that brings us to number 18, superintendent's recommendation. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve 18.01 as submitted.
Just the one?
18.01 I'm sorry, 18.01 through 18.03.
Board, this is for the naming mascot colors of the high school, the
Lobbying.
contract lobbying services, and marketing efforts.
Correct.
Mr. Wheeler, would you be willing to just do 18.01? Because I want to discuss that one.
Do you want me to sure, I'll amend my motion to approve item 18.01 as submitted.
I'll second.
Okay.
I have a motion for 18.01 by Mr. Wheeler, a second by Mr. Soto. Discussion? Mr. Weisshire?
Thank you, sir. And I'm just going to kind of click down and get to this. The short version of this is I don't like the name. Make it pretty simple. Admittedly, I looked at some of the recommendations that came in as well from some of the outreach, and as we know, that can be a little interesting at times as well. I like the idea of academy. I like the idea of innovation academy. I'll be honest, the Neovation doesn't do it for me.
Not a fan of the Matrix movie?
Yeah, the one.
The one is the one.
Yeah, so just so you know, I don't like it. If it's the will of the board to move it forward, I will vote against it.
Discussion.
I just think it's a weird name.
I got
to be
a
honest
question
with
for
you.
a second. Okay.
Go ahead.
Tim, I mean, I'm just curious, is this something you brought up with staff before the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough, 'cause I mean, I texted back and forth with Dr. Pace about something relative to this, but I didn't have a problem with it. Okay.
The agenda item had already been prepared and posted when Mr. Weisshire and I had a chance to talk about it.
No, it's fair, as long as, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the Knights, and I don't have a problem with the colors. That's not as important to me. I actually think Innovation Academy is better than Neovation Academy, but I don't know what the will of the board is.
Assuming it's a play on Neo City.
Oh, I'm sure it is. There's no doubt of that.
Or
In fairness-
the Center for Neovation, which is the name of the building over there.
My understanding from the county manager is that that is going to be kind of like the naming, whatever you call it, like the naming of theme of the buildings, the naming convention. Thank you. I'm sorry, my brain's a little dead tonight. The naming convention for the buildings as they add then like Neovation 1, Neovation 2, Neovation Way. And so that's where the idea came for the Neovation. Certainly, if the board has better ideas, I did share with you, with the agenda and with the public, the outreach that we had had and the responses that we had, and we are open to suggestions. Mr. Adams has already been working with Varsity Brand, and we are looking forward to doing some of the same type of branding work that we did for Tohopa-Caliga High School. It's been very, very effective, but again, the nights are up in the air, but we did clear that it does not conflict with the work of UCF, and I felt like it kind of tied together the fact that we are partnering with the county, Bridge, and UCF on this important project. But again, will of the board, whatever you guys want.
Neovation should be trademarked. That's a new word. And nothing like this has been done before, by the way. This is also, we're treading in new waters here. The idea of putting a high school into Neo City and next to our manufacturing center and what is going to be the hub of technology in Osceola County, maybe Central Florida, is something that is unique. The uniqueness of the name does resonate just because that. It's not something you're going to look up in the dictionary, something that we're going to define. And we are putting the definition, on how we're going to go ahead and move forward, not just with our new high school, but with this idea, and this concept. So it resonates in that way. So when I first saw it, at first I kind of had like, I like the Matrix and everything, but, I noticed that. I like Tim's face. But
red pill, blue pill.
Exactly. This is definitely a red pill. So, let's go ahead and take the journey. It'll be interesting.
So, go ahead. I was going to say, the county manager was in on the discussion and a team from the county with the naming.
Not regarding the high school, but he shared with me the work that they're doing on the other building and felt like this was going to be good. He did not want us naming it like Neo City High School or Bridge High School.
The name of the road is going to be Neovation?
No, the name of the road is Neo City Way.
Neo City Way. Is there anything else named Neovation, or is it just this?
My understanding is that's how they're going to name the buildings that are added.
Just Neo everything or Neovation?
Neovation.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I said Innovation Academy, and I do agree with the superintendent on the academy piece. One other thing, I was going to say, that's the other thing I was going to say, is Neo City Academy, I think, it does better for me. Now, I understand where you're at, Mr. Soto, and I respect that. To be honest, I kind of figured that I might be the only one that didn't like it. I do think that it's important that we take this process, not that you're not, but that we take this process seriously as we're going through the naming conventions of our schools. These are names that last a long time. I think you make a good point, Mr. Soto, that, blazing a new trail here, if you will. If we were going to build a school, think about even just Celebration. It's in Celebration. It's called Celebration Community School, Celebration High School, St. Cloud High School. I like Neo City Academy more than I like Neovation. You guys wanted something tied in specific to that, but I don't like Neovation. That's the simple point.
I would have been just the same way about New City, by the way.
Could we go with Neo? I feel a lot.
But I don't know.
about Neo
I think
City.
that there may be an issue with some of our partners if we chose Neo City, correct?
Mr. Fisher discouraged me
That's
from
what it is.
suggesting Neo City. I don't know why. I can always go back to him. It's not a decision that we have to make now, but I do know that the board likes to have discussion on this naming process, and it is something that we're going to want to get out there pretty quickly because I think it will help with our marketing efforts for students. We already have 7 students who've applied to be a part of the school, and we've just started that effort. Obviously, tonight just named the principal, but I really want to be able to launch the actual marketing piece pretty quickly.
So if we were to say, I'm just going to throw this out there, okay with the colors, okay with the mascot, could we amend the motion to approve that and then come back in January and decide on a name? Sure. I'll be honest, I'm certainly fine with Neovation, but I do want Ryan to be able to get started to get that part done. If we name it Neo City Academy or Neovation, when they change the name to something 15 years from now, we're going to have to change the name of the high school anyway.
Neo City's more apt to stick than the Neovation.
Neo City's,
Good point, Clarence.
well, if it's Neo City, Neovation will always
It's hard to change the
work.
name of roads, and that's the
Yeah.
road, and the mailing address is already.
Okay.
I mean, I don't,
The roads are one.
Neo City Way is the road that it's on, it's the main
Is that
road.
what you also prefer, Neo City?
I would prefer Neo City, but that's my opinion.
I'm ready to support Neo City.
I'll amend my motion. I'll support Neo City High School as the name of the school.
I would like to see, understand why the county manager did not want to use Neo City, to be honest.
I will try to find out, but if the board wants to tentatively approve that, I can bring it back to you in January if that's not something that they would
Or
like.
should we table it?
That's what I was gonna say.
That's a
Can we
nice balance.
can we approve it with that? She can work with Don if he has a major problem. Approve it kind of pending his approval. And it comes back to be done.
We could approve it and just revisit it if we have to. We're a flexible board.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So,
Jay?
I'm fine.
No, do you want to amend your motion to make it Neo City Academy? Right, instead of Neovation Academy?
I'm gonna
With the
amend my
knights in blue
motion
and
to
silver?
make it
With the Knights in blue and silver.
the Neo City Academy with the Knights and the colors as submitted.
I second that motion.
Okay, board, we've got a motion by Mr. Wheeler, a second by Mr. Soto
I
for,
have a question, the way the motion
Okay.
is presented.
Yes.
What I'd mentioned was,
Yeah.
it's kind of a tentative approval
Okay.
pending the county manager, yay or nay, that we want.
well, I think we had consensus on we'd be okay with
Okay.
revisiting.
I'll make the motion
I just wanna make sure the motion-
contingent
Like it
upon.
is.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so we're good? No contingencies?
I think it's just I think what Mr. Thacker wants to say is like, we'll take this vote, but if we have to be open to some more information and maybe having to do this again, which I'm.
And if tomorrow she picks up the phone and says, oh, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, then we don't have to come back at it.
Maybe I'll get a text before the meeting's over.
Yeah, okay. Our board, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve items 18.02 and 18.03.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for items 18.02 and 18.03 by Mr. Weishire, second by Mr. Wheeler. Any discussion?
Nope.
Board seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Now, board, just a second here because it will not show up on this, but it is, I believe, scheduled. It would be on the old agenda to pop up now, and that would be our agenda modification, which would be item 5.05, which is the contract between the school board and the Teamsters.
I'll make a motion to approve that contract as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? We have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, a second by Mr. Weishire. I have some discussion. Board, I wanted to thank Dr. Pace and the team for coming forward. Tammy, your group, Mrs. Otterson, Mr. Shatira, yes, absolutely. Thank you because, in the community, we're getting a lot of questions right now. What are we doing to address the bus issue? I know you hear it all the time, Mr. Shatira, and I want to thank you for working hard with those folks and getting somewhere with them. So this is something that we are doing to address the bus driver issue. We've probably still got a long way to go, but this is at least a first good step. It's a big step. So thank you. Thank you all for working so hard on that.
Well done.
So we have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by, was it Mr. Thacker? Mr. Weishire. So I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Actually, we should have done that one before, but that's okay. That brings us to our attorney's report.
In light of the workshop, no reports tonight.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Krumbacher. So our last, Superintendent, do you have anything else?
I can tell you that Mr. Fisher is pleased, so we are good to go with Neo City
There
Academy
we go.
Knights, blue and silver. Yay!
Thank you, Mr.
I kind of like Neovation.
Me too.
I'm joking.
Me too. Let's go back.
Academy at Neovation Center.
All right, folks, we're almost there. The finish line is near. We don't have any unfinished business. We do have new business, board. You should have in front of you the list of committee assignments. I have mine somewhere. We will do those now.
Chairman, I looked at mine, just so you know, I'm fine with staying exactly what I'm serving on if everyone else is in similar vein. Of course, if people want
Well,
what
let's-
I'm doing, then I'll go
Mr.
through that.
Weisshire, is it okay if we just run down? I think we could be pretty quick. Affirmative Action Committee was Kelvin Soto. Would you like to
I'd
remain?
like to pass that to someone else.
Anybody?
It's not like, guys, by the way.
How many meetings did you have?
Like, that I attended?
Yeah.
That I had.
You attended.
Clear distinction.
Attended, 0.
Okay.
It's a good one, Jay. You should- Jay, it's one of the best ones out there.
Mr. Weisshire, Mr. Thacker? Mr. Soto, you're gonna remain on the Affirmative Action Committee.
That's fine. Listen, the title really doesn't do it justice. Okay. It has to
But
have-
you're okay.
It has to have that title, but that's not really what it's all about.
Okay. The Audit Committee, you see our appointments there. Sarah, are we voting to approve these appointments again? These people, or,
You don't have to approve anything at this time.
but we do have to add our board member representative,
I'm happy to stay as the board representative.
and we need an alternate, which is Kelvin Soto. Do you want to stay?
No problem.
Okay, that one will remain the same as well.
Just a quick clarification.
Yep.
Harry Schwartz still on here, but it says term expires November of 2017.
Oh, that's right.
So at our next meeting, we'll have to address that.
Okay.
Will he continue or not?
We'll reach out to him and ask him if he would like to.
Okay. Do we need to approve Migdalia for the Bella Lago Board? Is that, I mean, when we approve all this, does that need to be in there?
We're good.
As long as
Okay.
you want to have her continue representing.
Okay.
that board.
The Business Advisory Board, I guess that goes to the chairman. The Central Florida School Board Coalition, just so you all know, Clarence was just elected as the vice president. Vice chairman. Sorry. I tried to make you the president, a vice president. So he actually will be our representative, but we need two.
I'll be on it.
Is everyone okay with that? Okay, so that will be Jay Wheeler and Clarence Thacker on the Central Florida School Board Coalition. Council on Aging, Kelvin Soto.
Fine.
You want to remain?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's appropriate.
Getting there myself, yeah.
The District Technology Committee. Kelvin is on there now. Is anybody else, or do you want to stay?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay. Oh, you are. Did you attend at least some of those meetings?
That's confidential, bro. All I can say is those are good committees.
Yeah. So, Education Foundation. I think 2 years ago it was me, then last year it was Jay. Is anybody else?
I don't mind going back on that, but if Jay wants to keep it, I'm fine with that.
You can do it, you can do it.
Okay.
I'll go back on that.
Is everybody all right? So Mr. Weisshire will be our representative this year. We'll approve Migdalia again for Flora Ridge, I'm assuming. Board, the chairman, and actually it says +2, but actually Jay is always automatically on that board. So we do need one more board member. Last year we had Kelvin as chair and Mr. Weisshire. Certainly, I'm sure, Mr. Weisshire, you could remain if you would like to.
Well, I just offered it to Mr. Soto, but he offered it back to me, and so
Okay.
I'm glad to take it since he was a team player.
Mr.
on
Thacker,
some of
you
the
sure you
earlier-
don't want to be in charge?
Well, you pulled your chair back, Clarence.
How many times have we heard you say it? So,
Do you know where Four Corners is?
I've been once when I was on the board. So actually, we will have Ricky Booth, Jay Wheeler, and Tim Weisshire.
Yep.
Tanya? All right. Guys, I'm all right with staying on the St. Cloud Chamber Board unless anybody's good. I'm good. All right, that'll be me again. The Kissimmee Osceola Chamber.
I'd like to do that this time.
Hmm?
I'd like to do it this time.
Jay.
Tim. I've been on it before.
That's whatever the
Want it,
board's
I'll yield
pleasure.
to. I'll yield to if you want it.
Okay, thanks.
Well, it's up to the board.
Sure. You said it'd be okay?
Not as a board member. I'll just.
Tim? You all right?
Yeah, if he wants to.
Jay? All right, okay. That'll be Jay Wheeler.
Represent us well, young man.
You betcha. I'll even wear a tie that you won't wear.
All right. The National Affiliate Advocacy Network, Jay Wheeler. Okay. Still remain. the School Health Advisory Committee. Clarence, thank you. No, I'm just messing.
Ricky, you should be on.
I'm pretty sure I've been to more of those meetings.
The Kelvin has been to all three of the ones.
How many is that?
Would you like to remain on there?
I will remain because, in all honesty, I didn't know that I was on it about 4 months ago.
We want to thank you for your service and your leadership.
I'm sorry.
So I believe the state legislative liaison is the FSBA legislative liaison. Those have already been selected, I believe, and that was Tim with the alternate as was it Jay or Clarence was the alternate? Or was it Jay?
I'm the alternate.
Okay. All right. So that'll remain. Value Tax Adjustment Board, Tim Westshire, Kelvin Soto.
Yeah, I'd like to remain on that.
Okay. Kelvin, and he's talking, so he gets to remain as alternate. The Vocational Advisory Board. That is Clarence Thacker. Would you like to remain?
What? Oh, God.
The Vocational Advisory
Do you guys
Board.
go to anything?
I do, yes.
I don't think they.
Come before a school board call. Hi, Tim.
This is
I think
for
Clarence
Tico.
became. I
This
think
is for
Clarence became
Tico.
vice chair of the coalition.
OTEC. Osceola Technical
I apologize.
College.
It is for OTEC,
You
Osceola
want to
Technical
remain?
I would
College.
like to do that.
Okay, now let's just clarify really quickly that Miss Tanya has everything written down. Okay, so do we need to make a vote on these whole committee assignments?
No,
All right.
technically it's board appointment.
Okay, so we're all
Or
good?
Chair appointment, I mean, but if
I hereby appoint the list that Tanya has.
Unite us.
So
too.
it is written, so let it be done.
Board. I've got a question for Mr. Kern. This was a really nice schedule you did on the computer stuff. Could we get one of these like in a year on the number of times that Kelvin shows up to the technology?
Joe, hold on a second.
I can't say much.
You know, we're not getting to me, all right? I just
Shows up
gotta
prepared.
realize that.
And because we kind of were all over the place, is there any of the leadership staff that has anything to add to the meeting tonight? Anybody? We're all over. We will. I will promise you one thing: we will not do this again if it's not better.
And we'll certainly work through that process, Chairman Booth, to make sure that it is better and that it works for you. I do believe that perhaps we missed the attorney.
There is one.
No, we didn't miss him.
Oh.
No, they sent me to Siberia with Mr. Wheeler.
He requested you sit by him, which worried me a little bit.
I was going to call that the peanut
members of the
gallery,
board-
but with the two next to you, I figured it wouldn't be appropriate.
During the work session, we talked about the fact, Board Member Thacker raised, when would all of this be coming to fruition? Because you had projects that were being planned financially, some already in the pipeline, et cetera. Would you be receptive if we came back, staff, in the January 16th meeting with a recommendation that basically worked out a grace or grandfathering period where people that were ready to go, we could work with them so that we could basically come up with this concept, and I was flushing it out. Everybody who wanted to go now would pay their full impact fees, all right? But we would come up with a period by which we would turn and say, we're going to evaluate them under the new provision for credit, and then rebate back if they qualify for an exemption. Because we've been going on and on with this. So if, for example, if somebody for the last 3 months has been planning to come out of the pocket and they want to start working right away and pulling things, and they were thinking we'd be done, we'd have them pay everything if we were, and apply. And if they applied and we had the county pass this in February, we would look at coming up with a way to calculate, are they eligible, and if they are, rebate them the difference. We'd bring that concept back to you in January for approval. That's trying to figure out how to work with everybody on this.
I want to see it in writing on
That's-
paper before I would say.
Well, that's what we're asking. Are you receptive to us trying to think of something like that? If not, we won't spend the time doing it.
More?
I'll comment first, if I may. I have a little bit of pause on it, but I think I'm where Mr. Wheeler was going. I do think we need to go through the exercise. One thing I will say is that I want to find the most fair and equitable approach of how we deal with this. And the point that Mr. Thacker made during the workshop was something that I was concerned about as well. So I think we're tracking in the same direction. And I understand the financial implications that come for some of these developments that are underway, and now midstream or beyond midstream, now there's a change. So I wouldn't commit right now to saying that I'm open to that I'm favorable towards the idea of a rebate,
Right.
but I would tell you that I do want to see some proposed language
Do the
that
work
could
and let's
potentially
flush it
address
out.
that, and then I would be willing to look at it at that point in time.
That's all I want is,
Mr. Chairman, relative to that, I mean, on the surface, I'm not a fan of the school district rebating anything to anybody because we need every penny we've got. With that said, though, I'm willing to look at it on paper if there's a compelling argument. I'm not going to tell you that I want to do what's fair, but my idea of fair is heavily weighted towards what's in the best interest of the school district.
Sure.
That's all I've got.
So I think Ms. Rhonda Blake would like to say something.
Just wanted to clarify that the counties and the cities, what their land development codes, pretty much, well, not the land development code, what the permitting codes say is they have 6 months to CO after a permit is pulled, regardless of the type of unit that you're pulling. And then they give you an option to apply for a one-time extension. So basically, they can go 6 months, and as long as the project is actively moving and they're getting some kind of inspection and feedback on whatever entity they're constructing in, they can apply for an additional 6-month extension. So that's inside of their permitting code. So if we start talking about doing things by permitting and trying to figure out a grace period, and you're wanting a drop dead date, for lack of a better word, they already kind of have that code written, so I don't know if we want to try to follow that when looking at the grace period. So I just want to make sure whatever we do, it doesn't cause a conflict with the way they're already tracking their permits and their sales, so it's just a thought.
so unless you give me direction otherwise, we will attempt to see if there's something we can flush out for you to evaluate. We may come back and say there isn't, but we'll look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then just another point of clarification, the revisit. Prior to our January meeting, we're going to have individual meetings
Yes.
as members of the board with the superintendent, with yourself and whoever else from the superintendent's staff to review what this new revised language might look like and what we might be voting on, correct?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Good. So I believe that's it, Board. I did want to finish up by saying what a terrible first meeting that I got to chair. But I do want to say this, just so, because we mentioned it going forward, and I know Jay has some strong words about it. I don't mind using this program, and I don't think 4 out of 5 of us mind using this program. The program has to do what we want it to do, and if it does not, we will go back to doing it the old way. Board, I think I'm fine with that. I think that's kind of the consensus you're here. I know I know the lady was a bit rushed the other day and wasn't able to kind of stay and answer all our questions. If it's not going to work the way we want it to work, I don't see any need in continuing to move forward with it. So I want to say that because I want Tanya to be prepared, because I know she has the most work here recording all the motions and the votes and all that, to make sure that when we move forward next week, if this is slow again and the process is cumbersome again, that we will kind of drop it like we did tonight and go back the old way.
There's got to be something wrong in our transfer.
Well,
So
I think
let's just
I was going
say
to ask
that.
this,
It
Chairman.
worked fine
I
under
think there's-
Kelvin.
I think there's potentially a very simple middle ground with this, and I think it's what we did towards the latter part of the meeting, which is typically, so one of the benefits of using board docs was the ease for staff of getting the packet pulled together.
Correct.
I think we can still leverage that piece of the tool. Normally what would happen is Ms. Culver would then document first and seconds and votes, and then later on prepare the minutes. I think we could do that exact same thing and just do all that digitally through board docs, but after the fact, it just wouldn't have the live voting component, but we could still use it, we could still leverage it, we can still follow
use the numbering and the code
Numbering, everything.
system,
We just
and
maybe
look
won't use
at
the
it
live
the way
vote
we look at it. We just won't probably use the live vote portion, unless they can figure out some way that we can vote on 12 and not have to vote on 10 items.
Yeah, they can if they make it.
But also, when we modified the agenda, there wasn't anything that kind of, the lady was showing us that, oh, it popped it in here, it moved to there. I didn't see any of that this time. There was the voting, it was supposed to take you to a separate screen where you see how everybody was voting, or was that just what Tanya was seeing? I don't know.
Typically, it would show on the big screen how everybody else is voting.
Yeah, it's like the scoreboard, it's called.
Well, wasn't the timing supposed to show on the big screen?
I think Mr. Weishire's onto something, and we can allow the staff to use it because it makes it a lot easier for them. We may still have to have just a hand recording of how we vote and get it done.
Pam and Tanya and I will work through the system and make sure that we have something that's workable for the way the board wants to work. I do think it has some great potential for efficiency for staff, but we have to make it efficient and make the meetings run smoothly.
Correct.
And tonight was an unusual night
That's fine.
for blue sheets as well.
Yep.
You know, we very rarely try to have any, let alone 3 or 4. It's just a lot of things have developed over the last few days that we had to get some decisions on to keep our capital projects moving.
Board, is there anything else? We stand adjourned.
Good job, Ricky.